When you look at what the charges the SEC has brought forth against Coinbase, how long do you think it will take to fight it, especially when you have your chief legal officer telling me last night that you would go all the way to the Supreme Court if you have to?
If necessary, yeah. I mean, look, we don't know exactly how long this court case will take, but I do think it's a really important opportunity for us as the leader in the U.S. to go get some clarity for this industry and for America so that we can make sure that this technology is built here and it doesn't get pushed offshore where customers can get harmed. I think if you go back in time a little bit, back to 2021, we had a number of discussions with the SEC about becoming a public company, and they allowed us to become a public company with full knowledge of how we list assets and how we operate our staking program. And it really, wasn't until a year later or so that they started to have more questions. We very thoughtfully engaged with them. I think we met with them 30 times over the last year, explaining every aspect of our business. We came in hat in hand and said, how do we register? We want to register. We even acquired a broker-dealer license, which is still dormant. We haven't found a way to activate it. We formally petitioned them for more clarity around the rules. And we, frankly, were met with silence. And so, unfortunately, they decided to pursue this policy of regulation by enforcement. We've got the Wells notice, and now the complaint is officially here. And so this is a difficult moment for not only the industry, but also for America. We need to make sure we get a clear rule book so this technology can be built here.
Is there a point at which you call it quits on the United States, given how hard regulators are coming down on the industry?
No, we're not going anywhere. I mean, I started this company in the U.S. because not only is it a big market, there's rule of law here, right? We have to follow the rule of law, so does the SEC and everybody. And so luckily, if we're not getting a clear rule book from the SEC, we have the opportunity to avail ourselves of the court, and we'll start to get some case law created, regardless of what the outcome of the case is, honestly. It's a step towards more clarity. The other big opportunity we have is really for Congress to step in here and act. And I think there's a lot of interest in Congress. We saw a bill come out last week from McHenry and Thompson, sort of clarifying, okay, this is the role of the CFTC and the SEC, and let's have some good consumer protections, and what about stable coins? And so I think there's a broad recognition within Congress that the U.S. is going to get left behind if they don't start to create some regulatory clarity, because the U.K., Hong Kong, Singapore, the UAE, these are all saying, we want to be crypto and Web3 hubs. We have clear rule books. Come here and build your business. And the U.S. is at risk of being left behind.
What happens while things are so unclear? Is there a chance here that you start to lose customers or even banking partners here? You have JP Morgan, Cross River, all these other more traditional financial institutions that you've worked with. Do they start to freeze up when the government does not have clear rules?
Well, so far we haven't seen any risk of that happening. I think all of our partners have been very thoughtful working with us. We've been very transparent with them. And I think they're frankly waiting to see what the outcome of some of these cases are, too. And how does the U.S. get to a path of more clarity, whether that's with the CFTC stepping in some role, Congress, the court case, maybe the elections in 2024 change this as well. So our partners have been really great to work with, and we're the leading company in the U.S. We're not going anywhere.
Elections in 2024, do some of these pressures on the industry potentially go away with a potential change in administration?
It's possible, yes. I mean, I do think that the chair and the SEC here is a bit of an outlier, frankly, in the U.S. government. As I mentioned previously, Congress seems very interested in crafting legislation here. The Biden administration actually put out an executive order a year ago or so saying, we recognize the potential of this technology and we want to make sure the risks are mitigated. They asked the branches of government to go introduce this. We're also seeing some of the presidential candidates already for next year kind of start to talk about their stances on crypto and how they want to accept crypto as for donations and how it should be regulated. So I actually think there's a good chance this becomes a relevant issue in the 2024 elections.
With that said, this could be an overhang for a while here when we look at how long that this could play out, not just for you, but the whole industry. What does this mean for crypto prices overall? Do you think that it's spooking some investors away in your conversations with the big institutions?
Well, yesterday this news came out, and surprisingly to me, crypto was up that day. I think what I interpret from this is that the SEC's rhetoric on this has been clear for a year or two now, and they've been making lots of statements. And so I think if there is an overhang, it's probably already been there for a while. And I don't think anybody was surprised by this news that came out, because the Wells notice came before it, and the rhetoric was there before that. So our investors are they're long-term believers in this technology. I think they're looking at it as an opportunity, frankly. If others are fearful, it's probably an interesting buying opportunity for them. But they're excited about this as one of the 3 or 4 major technology trends happening in the world. And I think smart investors recognize that the U.S. is not going to sit on the sidelines. This is too important of a technology.